Bricks and Minifigs is your one-stop shop for all things LEGO. Hit the link below to find a store near you. Hey everyone, Joshua Hanlon here, and today I'm back with Gerry Burrows. We were here a number of years ago, checked out some of this incredible LEGO displays that you see around us here. These displays are just amazing, but we're going to take a closer look at some of the newer builds that he's worked on since we were last here as we move our way back to even more incredible builds that you have down here. But this giant build is the newest one, so we haven't seen this in person yet. So tell us a little bit about what this whole thing is.
Well, it's called the T5 Affliction Mech. It is a mech style unit in the style of many a different movie, anime, various fantasy, whatever you want to call it. I think we're all familiar with mech units.
So in your mind, it's just kind of like a combination of lots of different types of those things that people might be familiar with.
Yes, I wanted to make something that I could get into. That was one of the challenges, to make myself able to get into it. It needed to be daunting. It's actually called the T5 Affliction Mech. The name has some meaning. I do a lot of Book of Revelation kind of style of thing. It's mixed with the Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. Nobody else does that, but I do.
It's very unique.
Yeah. Well, you got to be unique, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the T5 is the fifth trumpet when a lot of bad stuff really continues to happen. So the fifth trumpet is this. These creatures come up out of the ground that are sort of locust scorpion-like, and they afflict suffering on people. And so it's the T5 Affliction Mech unit. And it's got a lot of things that can hurt people, as you can see. This is my Vulcan cannon, Gatling gun. I got like a disc throw, a small disc, large
kind of a throwback
disc
to like the Exo-Force sets almost. Like
yeah, it is. That's inspiration too.
Yeah.
This is like the tip of the scorpion tail. If you saw on the back, which you might get video, it's a scorpion tail that goes all the way up the back and it shoots out like a flame type of or poison acid type of stuff. Two cylinders on both sides that combine it. A little flame coming out here. You got your standard rockets over there on that side. Oh, you got to have a lot of rockets to shoot out, right?
Mechs and rockets go together well.
You got on that side, you got your rail gun.
Very cool. Yeah. I love the details on that too, and just kind of the greebling effect almost on parts of it.
Yeah, the neon green as throughout all the creation is sort of like the power that everything gets, so pretty standard power. And then there's some mounted on the back legs here, a few things. I don't know if you can even get back here. You got a smaller camera than you did last time, I think. So
very mobile operation.
Yeah, so just got some other little turret type guns on the backs of each of the legs here, and
then you can see these big kind of Technic panels for the tail.
You can see the tail. The tail's in 3 different segments that I had to make it in. Again, very modular.
So the size of this thing, now it's not your first time that you've sort of attempted a wearable build. You can see this build over here as well, which we had covered quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
So with this build though, where do you kind of start with building this type of thing when you know you're going to be standing inside it?
You start with the base, the foundation.
Okay.
Under there are, I could actually, if you want me to start flipping stuff up to
it's always cool to see
Now this
inside.
is multiple versions of this and what's culminated in what you're about to see. So I had to make something. The idea was it's not going to move a lot because it's going to be very heavy. So it's more like scooting around on an office chair with wheels type of thing. So it's not very dramatic. So you're not going to, which you might have seen from the video I'd sent you before. Here, I can actually, you got to have access panels, right? To be able to get inside things when you make them like this. So let's just open these up first. And then you can let that. And so now you're going to see something. I used to have it as, actually, I'll scoot this over a little bit more so you can see it all the way
I'm making sure I don't break anything by touching it too much.
Well, it's actually all pretty sturdy because you got to imagine if I'm getting inside here.
That's true.
It's got to be able to withstand a little bit more.
There you go.
So these are Omni wheels. They're built for Lego. But I used to have, I don't know if you can get a shot. I used to have all of them. Oops, sorry. I forget to close something first. I used to have those kind of chair-like wheels like you see over there. Those used to be on all of them. And I used to have twice to 3 times as many, but they just don't. They started to stress and break after a while. So after I started scooting around, like, uh-oh, and that's when I had to take the thing apart a bit and it's like, I got to break down, I got to get these wheels. And then I also, on Bricklink, there used to be a store, I don't know if they do it anymore, but they actually make pieces like that are also the exact Lego dimensions.
Oh, cool.
Now I know this kind of makes it not 100% Lego purist, but I was like, if I'm ever going to take this to a convention, I've got to make it strong. I've got to make it strong.
Yeah.
So at least I'm ordering pieces, and they actually came with the right size screen. These pieces are very expensive too.
I can imagine.
It's like $5, $6 or so for one.
Wow.
One. So if you think Lego's expensive, I was like, the only way I'm going to keep this thing from constantly collapsing is going to be to do that.
Do you know the total weight on this here?
I do not.
Okay, but there's a lot of it, so you've got to make sure you can support all that. We've got to put back together now, so you can talk a little bit more about some of these lower, kind of the leg sections now, and kind of how you put these together.
Sure. Yeah. Well, each of these guys here are my boots, because
Okay.
if you're sitting on a chair and you just got to scoot around under your own leg power, that's the power that's going to power this mech. So essentially, these are like giant ski boots. For those familiar with what those are. I can actually get in them and stand and scoot around a little bit. They're kind of heavy, so I can't really walk too gracefully. But yeah, that's why you got a little bit of a gap here, so my legs have to have room to move. And these pieces here, they're flexible so that when I bump into stuff, it'll stay. I know that makes a lot of people nervous when you see that. Me too, a little bit. But yeah, so I just slipped my feet into here, and my feet come to about right here, so I got a good 6 inches of height, and I'm not too tall, so it makes you feel pretty powerful when you're standing up. Actually, I probably wouldn't be much taller than you guys, though, but...
Take what you can get.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, so I can open it up and see what it looks like inside.
Let's see, a lot of use like Technic pins to kind of close things and attach panels and things like that.
Oh, yeah. So... got to lift this up to be able to swing it off to the side and let it drop there. Open up this side of the canopy.
How strong are all these? You got all these panels stacked on top of each other, the clear panels.
Yeah, not real strong, as you can imagine. And it's always a constant battle of weight and cost. But these are about the largest clear panels that you can buy. I mean, you can buy them in different transparency colors, but yeah, so had to be able to see out of there. So it takes a long time to order such bulk amount of a lot of certain pieces like these. So I probably had to place about 20 or 30 Bricklink orders before I actually got enough of it, of even just one type of piece. All right, so from here, we've got our, that's where I will sit, but you're probably wondering how I actually get in there. I don't just hop on in. So you just flip this like this, and this lifts up like this, bends down in, and same thing for this side. And now I have a little more easier access. Not the best. It fits me.
You tiled it off for comfort?
I tiled it off for comfort. I could put a little pad there if I needed. But yeah, you can see down in there the structure a little bit. I don't know if you care to, but...
what is the main support pieces you kind of felt like would work well?
A lot of these stanchions of various colors, since you don't really see in there, I just bought whatever was the cheapest type I could get, since you don't really see those insides there so much. And a lot of just, solid, right down, each one of these right now is right down to a wheel. So,
okay.
All right, so to get in, now I guess I could put my feet in the, you know what, I'll do it. It's risky. Hey, if it collapses, that would be even an awesome video,
go.
Right?
We're rolling this whole time.
I did it in the wrong order though. If I'm going to I usually got to put my feet in there first. So let me scoot this out. Let me scoot these over.
You get to see the whole process here.
Yeah.
Wearable Lego is not an easy thing to do, so it's impressive.
No, yeah. That's still that suit there is the hardest thing though I ever did, because I had to put it over my whole body. This just has to be like, be able to get my foot in it. Got a nice comfy slipper in there. I'm not stepping literally on Lego. All right, so then I sit down, I can Good thing I am small. See, this is where it's good that I'm
There you go,
not too tall. Now, I don't have to lift them off either. Like, I actually can take all these things down. I usually don't wear jeans either when I'm doing this. Usually something either shorts. I got some supports right here so I can lift myself up.
There you go.
Oh, look at that. I can exercise in here. All right. And see, I've lost a few plates there, but that's okay. All right, so you got to make sure you put this back down in the right order. Lock that into place. Keep praying to God that this isn't going to break.
There's a lot of moving parts.
It is. All right. Lock it in. Got a lot of controls here.
Wow.
This is, I actually hold on to this so it's nice and sturdy because when you start scooting around, you don't want your body scooting back into it. You got to keep yourself planted here. And so, I can lift up my feet and do stuff. Scooch butt back in here a little better. Got a little control. You can't really see it from your camera angle, but I got a lot of control panels. So I will close this up.
That's incredible.
It's got yeah, see, got to always make sure. Lift this up and you're flipping this in. All right, got an outside lock and an inside lock because I got to be able to do it from both sides. All right. And
Wow.
there we are.
Completely
I can
enclosed.
shift it a little bit. I'll twist it a little bit left and right, but I'm not going to try to. I don't have a lot of room to maneuver with here. So then, yeah, I just lift up my feet, or I scoot them. You can see on the sides, I have extra leaning out on both sides because when I got to push on one side, I need a little more to push against on that side versus on this side. And I also have little rollers on the bottom where I can easily just roll it because they are heavy. So I have little rollers. So if I lift my foot up, I can just tilt it a little bit, and but then it's got rubber soles for the rest. So that's about it.
That's incredible. So it looks like you've got like a decent amount of space in there, though. Like you can.
Yeah, I mean, maybe one of you guys could fit in here too, but I don't know. See, I got a good, I don't know, maybe 6 inches of head height too. So if I was a little taller, would still work out. Yeah.
So how much have you moved around in this thing while you've been inside there at this point? Has it just pretty much stayed in this area?
Yeah, because as you've already seen, I don't have much more room in here. I used to have all the Legos stored over here, and now they're either stored against the wall over there. I took out some other stuff and actually removed some Lego stuff out into that door that's already blocked over there, just to have room to build this over here because this wasn't even a space before. So, yeah. So I don't know. I can come out now.
Yeah, no, that's amazing that you're able to get inside there.
Yeah. All right.
So what have you learned in the process now of building kind of multiple kind of large wearable mech suits? What are some of the key tips if someone wants to build maybe wearable kind of large scale builds like this?
It's a constant balance between weight and strength and flexibility.
Okay.
Because I've built things, including on here and that suit there, that looked really cool, but then I put it on, like, man, this thing is heavy. Or you can't move so well, or there's too many gaps and pieces break. You can't stress pieces out. I mean, Lego is very strong, very durable, but even even it will break over time too, with enough stress. I mean, every vehicle or machine we ever make, even if it's not Lego, suffers from that type of situation. So, yeah.
There you go.
All right. I'll put that piece on. Oh, it's just a side one. There we go. Very bottom.
A lot of use of just the large gray base plates, which is interesting, which I think probably does help a lot with the weight you were talking about.
Yeah, well, that's definitely another thing. It would be if it didn't have to move and flex. Yeah, I could build it as heavy as I build this thing. Yeah, but yeah, I have to find. You can't skimp on the structural pieces, the strength pieces, and even the flexing pieces. But then you got to go as light as possible on everything else. So yeah, that's why using a lot of those base plates as parts that are not structural can just be used to, cover it up. Yeah.
So then going back to some of the weaponry on here, I know you briefly mentioned that we can maybe take a closer look, maybe starting over here with sort of the Gatling gun. What are some of the elements in there?
I can close this up too if you prefer ahead of time. Okay.
Sure, yeah. That might make it easier. You can see how it comes back together. I like the red and gray sort of color scheme throughout it.
Yeah, I had to decide for all things involved. I had to decide what's my accent color. I mean, I know I'm going with space, Lord of the Rings, castle style of coloring, but you need a color to make it pop, right? So it was either this, it was kind of this, or I forget what shade of blue it was. It wasn't just the standard blue, yeah. It's like, yep, I'm going with this color. Cost is also another thing too. You got to get a color that you can buy in large amounts and not break the bank every time. Yeah, so. Just shift these back a little bit so I don't bump into them.
There we go. So yeah, now we can take a closer look then back over here. You can talk in a little bit more in detail. Like I noticed sort of the ammunition coming up the belt fed there.
Yeah, it's got to look good. I had hopes of maybe making it really turn and feed, or at least turn the bullets, not actually shoot. That would have been a whole nother thing. And I know I could have done it, but at the same time, I was like using, Lego robotics, which I've used on some other things before, but it's also very heavy. So it would have taken a lot, which would have made the whole thing heavier. And I wanted to have controls that go in here that did some spinning and other stuff. But I had a prototype of it, and it spun some, but it's just a Vulcan cannon, Gatling gun, whatever you want to call it. I mean, those things are...
Yeah.
If it just goes... It just wasn't worth the effort, and it would have looked kind of sad, I think. This is my opinion about it.
Get the speed and the impressiveness.
So I was like, I think I have to not follow through on that particular idea. But yeah, otherwise it's just meant to look really cool.
Now, do like the rockets or any of the discs or anything actually come out here? Is there sort of playability factors there?
Well, all the rockets come out of there. I mean,
Okay.
There's a little bit of a Lego push just to get them to stick in there so they don't just easily fall out. But yeah, all those can be removed. And same thing with the discs. I only have one big disc in this one, but there's a little, like, I don't know, sometimes I go to too much effort and it's never, like, I can actually detach. You can see it moves a little bit. I can pull this pin out, detach it, and all these little ammunition in there can come out. Again, something that will never be implemented or used or played with. And even the rail gun over here, the same thing. That thing that hooks out off the side there on the far side, it's also its ammunition, the magazine. It also detaches, and I can take out all those nice little weapons too, or ammunition as well. But yeah. So I have thought maybe instead of trying to bring all this, like I've made enough weaponry that I could just have like a weapons display maybe some point. Because all these weapons detach from this mech unit, which is, a mech unit's got to have detachable, fit it for whatever mission it's got to go on, right? So the other guns here, they're just loose.
Is the mech itself kind of built in a modular way that you could take it out to like a convention or something at some point?
I could, yeah.
Okay.
All of it, I can detach all these. Like I said, all the weapons come off. The canopy is in 2 separate pieces. Even the tail is in 3 different pieces. Probably the largest single part is the base, which is this big chunk that I sit on that has to be pretty structurally, sound.
Yeah.
So that is the legs, the big legs in the back. They come off. It's probably I have to think about this, but it's probably at least, if you include everything, including the weapons that come off, it's probably at least 20 different individual components. So it is, and I built it because I got to be able to get out. It's obviously too big to fit through a door, right? So,
Right.
So it would be living in here till its death or destruction, right? If I couldn't make it modular, so I made sure everything could fit through a door.
Nice.
Just like when you're designing furniture, you got to get through a house's doorways. So I do the same thing for all my stuff. That includes this thing here. That includes everything we're looking at here. It's all modularly built. As you can imagine, it would be impossible to stand on a chair and put every little piece up top there. So everything is a modular component kind of have to build it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
For people who haven't seen some of these other large builds you've done, we'll have links in the description to those videos where you can get more detail on it. But do you know a piece count on this mech suit over here?
Yeah, I believe this is 200. Wait. No. Okay, now this is where I have to go to my notes. That's where I have to go to my notes. 125,000 pieces. Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
This is one of the ones, because it's newer, you think it'd be more fresh in my mind, but it actually isn't.
125,000 pieces.
About 125,000 pieces for this. It's all estimate. I use a lot, but once I started using Bricklink all the time, a lot of ways I can just simply look at my piece count orders in Bricklink over the years, and that will give me a good estimate. I mean, I always have supplies too, but that helps me get a good estimate, and you can just look too. I mean, the thing is, especially the mechanical stuff, not so much the structural city-like stuff, but the suit, the mech here has. I mean, it's like, how many nails do you use in a house?
Right.
I mean, that many pins. I mean, I usually buy pins at like 1,000 increments, bulk increments. So, and I had to buy a lot, and I'm constantly resupplying myself. So, if you include those as pieces, which technically they are, then yeah, that's how the numbers grow pretty high.
Right.
I mean, you can look everywhere. You can see Technic, lift arms and bricks everywhere, and you see pins in all of them. And these are just the ones you can see on the outside. On the inside, there's way more.
But yeah, that's a good pro tip though for people watching builders, especially maybe your newer builder trying to build larger structural things. Like Technic is just so strong once you start using those pins and the Technic pieces kind of bonded together.
Very much.
Yeah, it works really well.
Yeah, I always like it when somebody says that something that I've made or anyone's made that it's like, wow, that doesn't even look like it's Lego. And that's usually because it's a lot of Technic pieces used in building stuff in this capacity, or the suit, or some of my smaller things even. Yeah, I'm like, cool, that's good. It is Lego, and probably Lego likes to hear that too. Like, look at what you can do.
And so you mentioned all the weaponry there, but you've actually got a couple of newer builds that are also weapons. So take us through these here. We can start with this one here and how this works.
Well, this is I don't have an official name for it yet, but it's effectively a shotgun, and my goal isn't just to make, like, on here, the things don't actually work on the T5 Affliction. I mean, they don't actually shoot, but my goal here was like, I want to make something that actually shoots. Now, I've made something before that shot. It's more older. I won't go get to it right now, but so I want things. It's cooler if it shoots, right?
Yeah.
Everything's cooler if it shoots, right? So this is it's a shotgun style thing. I'm balancing it here. I don't want to give all stress on the handle. But yeah, it's a shotgun. Right now I have, and this is where it all loads into, I have, I think, 3 shots in here right now. So it works like a shotgun. Where we want to shoot it to, I'll just hit right here. So you.
Whoa. Okay.
Okay. I think that was all that's in there. So yeah, and there goes my hand piece. I can put that right down. Yeah, now they're just aesthetic, just for grip.
Sure. So take us through some of the details then, because that's quite the apparatus as you were reloading that there, and how that kind of works.
Yeah. Well, it works generally like a real shotgun would work. I don't know if you can gather a few of my bullets now that popped up places. There's one on the floor here.
There you go.
So you lift it up, and you have to put the bullets in the right way. I've had a lot of different prototype bullets. Actually, they're right here. Different ones, different sizes, different ways. Some of them get stuck more than others. Some of them shoot harder if they actually fall out. So yeah, just load it. It's got a flexible part down here. And cock it in just like a shotgun, and oh, see, I misfired. After all that drama.
It was so effective.
It shot all the first ones. I could load one in again, but
using a lot of spring pieces here.
Lots of spring pieces. That's where I have to be able to open up so I can deal with any jams or as I'm flowing stuff. The trigger, you can see the trigger pulls. I pull this. Basically, it's a pretty standard thing. Like you just push in it loads it in. I know it's hard to explain it.
Yeah, no.
You can't really see it so well, but just any kind of a lot of the Lego things. You pop it in there, the little thing clicks on it, and you pull it, and it pops it up, and the spring shoots it out. Yeah, so there's basically just a big spring chamber in here. I'll say that I have replaced the spring a few times because at first I was using a lot of like shock absorbers, or just taking springs off of other things and putting them in there, putting like a whole like big pack of springs. But the Lego springs, just none of them are really that strong. So I bought just a regular spring and replaced like a whole bunch of ones so it would shoot further. Otherwise, it's just like, I'd spit out and it'd probably still hit the TV from here, but you could hear it was hitting pretty hard on there. So, I was I need it to be a little more impressive than spit outs.
So now, is this weapon something you could like add on to the mech, or was it built kind of totally separate?
I built it as a standalone. It was initially, my idea was to make it so I could like making a lot of accessories for the suit.
Okay.
But it's just a little too hard to hold stuff with the suit and manage it, with all that. So. Okay. I mean, I don't know.
So there's the shotgun there, yeah.
Yeah, I made a little stand for him.
You made a stand, and then you've got this second weapon as well that actually fires that we can take a look at.
Yeah, this is my revolver. Let's see if there's a few
This
things.
uses the classic old missile shooters that have appeared in lots of different Lego themes and kind of sets over the years.
See, I don't have it in the chamber all the way, but so I can take this out. I want it to be able to reload like a regular kind of revolver type gun.
Always the iconic instructions with the don't shoot your eye out with the beginning of the instructions.
That one I always have. Yeah, that one picks. It looks exactly the same as everyone else, but it never sticks in any of the things, any of the turrets. All right, so. Roll that back in there, make sure it's seated. Lock it.
There you go.
See, this is why these guns are not really ready for prime time yet.
Sometimes it gets
It was shooting just fine last night. I shot it all the rounds like 5 times. 5 times, and then all right, well, anyway. All right, so it's not performing up to par, but you can kind of...
work in progress.
Yeah, so that's why I haven't actually demonstrated any of these yet. I take this off so you can kind of see a little bit of the inner workings of it. You can see this is how it shifts it each time just the right amount, sits in a seat up here. It pops each time if it was loaded, it would pop the things out. So, yeah. I think I think I might have mentioned this. I feel like this is the first of its kind where just one trigger pulls everything double action. I don't know if you guys have seen anything else. I'm kind of curious if you had ever seen anything quite like this
I don't think so. Especially not with these like missile shooters like that. Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything like that. But that's a really, it's very, very complex. A lot of moving parts. That's why it doesn't always work perfectly.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
These are these two guns are the things that I stopped a while ago and just never got back to. So yeah, I'm still trying to refine the precision of it. This is maybe even a better angle of it to see everything. Oh, so I think we have another weapon in there. So.
Again, the similar types of springs to what you had on the shotgun.
Yeah, I had to use a lot. The thing is, when you're making a mechanical device, there's always, with Lego, you can't alter the pieces. They're where they are. Things are at the certain angles or the right position or certain positions from each other. It's like, oh, I need a millimeter more of length here or another 2-degree angle here. Nope, got to rework the whole thing using the pieces to make sure everything moves just right. Like an actual gun is way simpler than this. Way simpler than this, and it's in components. So, I mean, I looked at it too. I was like, how do they do it? I'm like, well, I'm going to have to kind of redesign it myself here on how to make this work. And with these, very much, I'm not a metal worker, so I'm not going to be, designing welding parts and, and molding parts and all that sort of thing. But, yeah.
So you've got lots more parts surrounding you here, and I know the kind of more permanent builds around this area has been many, many years long project for you. Are you still continuing to add to some of these areas?
No.
Okay.
I would like to, but as you can see, I'm kind of low on space right now. But I do have a very lovely wife, and I have more room in the basement that I have contemplated expanding on. I have, as you saw them, actually, this is the only room that's finished in the basement, so possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've got endless ideas in my head of things I would like to do. I mean, I guess I could move out all this stuff, but then I don't have all my supplies in the room in which I'm building, so then it becomes a little trickier. Yeah, but yes, I would like to. My next thing though is actually related to this wheel here.
That a lot of wheels actually.
Yeah, it's a lot of wheels. So as you can see, there's this is my prototype because I want to make something else that can also withstand my weight and move around. And a wheel is ideal for that. And I don't want to make anything, I don't like using any non-Lego parts. I've had to on occasion for the sake of making it withstand if ever I had to take it out somewhere. So this is the wheel. As you can see, I've used lots and lots of wheels for treads. And it needs to be perfectly circular too, or else once a wheel that's not circular is on a thing, it won't be a nice smooth ride, and it'll actually lead to structural problems eventually because certain things will start taking extra stress. So yeah, here's another prototype thing. So this would be inside. I'm basically going for like a roller bearing kind of situation here. So this would go inside the wheel and be, well, part of the axle essentially. So yeah,
that's looking very impressive. Yeah,
it rolls pretty steadily too.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's to come.
I'm glad you're continuing to work on the sort of like wearable mech suit idea or those types of builds at least.
I like to put. I'm a computer programmer. For most of my life, IT guy. I went to school though for mechanical and aeronautical engineering.
Okay.
So I'm like, I just have this desire to make things, well, mechanical, such as the suit sort of a mechanical thing, effectively in ways. The weapons are obviously much more so. But yeah, I like to push the boundaries.
There you go.
Of what I can do or what is possible, and yeah. I like to build big, and I think when I actually bought, I don't know if I mentioned this last time you were here, but after I got married, we were looking for a house, and I told the real estate agent, I need a house with a Lego room. Like, I've never had that request before, but I will do my best. It didn't have, but it just needed space. It could have been a room that was already, or a finished basement, or an area in the basement, or whatever. But it's like, all right. Yeah. If this basement's big enough, I'll make this room. I had to make it once I got here, but yeah.
No, I'm glad you've continued to keep this together. Like I said earlier, we do have another video that shows this all more in depth, so we'll link that in the description for anyone who hasn't seen this, but wanted to just give an idea of the scale and kind of what you've done here. And I like how you even have it set up with like the ships down there and the armies and everything, so even a sense of action as you kind of look around here.
Yeah. Now this what you're looking at now, called the Garrison of Mariah. It's probably the first. Yeah, it's the first thing I was ever had any kind of notoriety for, and it's the first thing I really dug into as an adult to build anything really big and significant. And I think this took me about 2 years. It was before I had any kids.
Okay.
So I had more time on my hands then. This is, I think when it was first got some media attention, it was about 250,000 pieces, and it only went to maybe this about section, I think, or maybe I'd started the bridge, and then I added the rest of this section, and then the bridge, and then the end cap over there, mountain kind of section, which I'm estimating maybe another 100,000 pieces. So I think overall, this whole thing that I call the Garrison of Mariah, 350,000 pieces, about 2 years. 2 years of not constant work, but I usually estimate I can get down here. Well, back then it was probably a little bit more before kids, but 3-4 days a week, 4 or 5 hours probably back then. Now that I have kids, I do 99% of my building between the hours about 10 p.m. or no, not even 10, probably more like 11 and 2 a.m. 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. actually at this point. And this is a lot older too. Sometimes I have debated taking this down and having room, because I actually look at this and like, yeah, if you look at what I have here as to compare to what I have at the other end, I feel like you can see the difference.
For sure, like the level of detail.
The level of detail is way more. Yeah, I mean, that's a huge part of it. Even just some of the ways I've structured things. Yeah, I would do this either again or just totally something new. Even too, I like look at the water. I like to use water features, and water helps make it, take out, make it a more natural feel. Like here, I did water and waterfall with blue. Like, okay, waterfalls really aren't blue, but that's what I had, and I didn't have as much money to spend on all this Lego back then. I was like, some blue base paints. They make it pop, I'll do that. And still some blue waterfalls here, and that's still about the same thing. Then when I had a waterfall, because as I said, this is the next section I was still building on, I was like, you know what?
The progress.
Waterfall, like now I'll make a waterfall that actually looks a little more the color. So I use white with transparent clear down there. So it looks more like an actual waterfall would look, color-wise at least.
Yeah.
And then I like, okay, now I'm really going to do it right. Now I'm going to have water. I got waterfalls all over the place on this thing, and the water down here, and some sort of waves coming in. But now I'm like, I'm going all clear, transparent. So I think that's my progression in figuring things out, or even technique-wise, because of this bridge. And so I feel like it is a little bit of a history of my learning. And
which is cool. It's neat to see the progress and the fact that you can see how you've evolved and improved as a builder over the years.
Yeah, feels good too.
Yeah.
You should be learning, right? If you're doing something,
Exactly.
You got to learn newer things all the time. And I look at what people do online too, and like, oh, that's a good idea. Or I saw people with waterfalls. I was like, oh, that is much better than my waterfall. I got to step up my game on waterfalls and water in general.
It is kind of funny though, going back to this this section that we were talking about earlier. There's a bit of a nostalgia for me because I can distinctly remember this would have been probably like 15-ish years ago now, before we even started Beyond the Brick.
Yeah.
Like this section, there were photos online. I forget, maybe it's like magazines or where all it was published.
Yeah, there's a lot of
press.
variety there. Yeah.
And like before we started Beyond the Brick, but this was like one of the first like large scale builds I ever remember seeing online. Like, wow, that's incredible. Like, look at what the adult builders are kind of doing out there.
Cool. All right, cool.
And the types of builds that kind of inspired us to go out and start going to conventions and just like kind of giving more exposure to those builders.
Cool.
I've always
feel good to hear that.
yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate that.
I've always remembered this just because of the size of it, and it's so like memorable from that. So it is very cool that you still have it together. But like you said, I also understand when the desire to improve and update things as well.
Yeah, with space, but man, taking this thing down it would be a little heartbreaking, and it would also be quite a task. I think I have to start paying. Well, I have kids now, so I can have them start to work.
There you go. But, yeah, you gotta get that labor there.
Or just film someone just demoing it. Just, hey, watch this. Whoops, and I fall into it. Yeah, hey. That could be a way to go too, but that would still be sad and a lot of cleanup work afterwards.
Exactly. No, but thank you so much for taking us through the newer sections and everything that you have here. So it really is incredible to see what you've continued to do, and it looks like you've got some other great projects in the works. So hopefully we'll have a chance to stop by again in the future and check out more of that. So thank you. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, you sure? Yeah, glad to have you guys.